This is a bit of a hot take, and I don't think it's likely to happen, but I could definitely see it happening, and I've got an argument for it. So here it is. Matt Murray, the new goaltender for the Toronto Maple Leafs, the new starting goaltender for the Toronto Maple Leafs, will not only earn a career high in wins in a season, but will also have a 912 plus save percentage this year. That's my hot take. What's your initial thought to that before I kind of explain my rationale?
I mean, all of the resources for Matt Murray to bounce back are there, right? You've got a general manager and a head coach who both know him very well. I can't remember the goalie coach's name right now, the guy that he's working with, but I mean, from what I've heard and read, that should be a very good arrangement as well. Look, it was a disaster in Ottawa, and before that, Matt Murray was a decent goaltender and obviously won 2 Stanley Cups back-to-back with Pittsburgh. Look, this is a team that obviously hasn't had that playoff success. They haven't been able to get out of the first round in the last 6 years, but they're a good hockey team, especially in the regular season. They put up a ton of points, and you know what? I really think that Murray could have a bounce-back season. Yeah, for sure. I don't mind this at all.
Yeah, so just for some context here, like the first part of this is Matt Murray will earn a career high in wins. His career high is 32, and he achieved that back in 2016-17 with Pittsburgh, obviously, and that was his last, really elite year in the NHL. He was incredible that season. Last season, he went 5-12-2, which was an atrocious record with Ottawa. Also played a game or two in the AHL. So that, isn't something that you love on your resume this far into your career. He had a 305 goals against average last season and a 906 save percentage. But on the bright side, he is a 911 goalie, a 911 save percentage goalie, throughout his career on average. And despite those poor surface level numbers on Ottawa last year, he had a positive goal saved above expected. Not by much, but about 4 goals that he saved above what he was expected to, given the opportunities that he faced. So that's encouraging to hear. Goalie guys love that number. Stats guys love that number. So it's a good thing to hear, and it's definitely encouraging. He'll be playing on the Maple Leafs, obviously, who are a much better defensive team going into this season than the Ottawa Senators were last year. So, for example, last year, the Sens allowed the 7th most expected goals against, which is, bottom third of the league. They allowed a ton of opportunities and a ton of really, really grade A opportunities. And Matt Murray, did his best last season to stop those. Compared to the Maple Leafs, who allowed the sixth fewest expected goals against last season. So they were among the very best defensive teams in the NHL. So just looking at all of that evidence, I think, when you combine that with the fact that, he's a childhood Maple Leafs fan, and the Toronto Maple Leafs have some of the best resources in terms of being able to get players healthy again. And we've seen that with tons of players in the past, whether it be Andre Kasha for the most part, he really benefited from the Maple Leafs, health and medical team. A guy like Tyler Ennis in the past really benefited as well. When all of that is combined, I just think that Matt Murray is going to prove a ton of people wrong this season. And, I'm hoping that this comes true and he gets a career high in wins with, anything over 32 and a save percentage above 912, which would be slightly above his career average of .911. But I think, in the right situation, playing, the majority of the games in a kind of tandem situation with Samsonov as sort of the designated 1A starter to Samsonov's 1B, I think it just makes a lot of sense. And that's kind of my hot take. And the reason it's hot is because people are down on Matt Murray after a couple poor years in Ottawa. But like I said, I think he's really going to surprise people this year. I think he's in the perfect situation to do so.
Yeah, I could see it, man. Like I said, all of the resources are there for him to bounce back. And Ottawa was it just wasn't a good fit. It was just a bad situation right from the get-go, a team that, they were trying to take the next step, and they certainly have this offseason. And they weren't a very good hockey team when Matt Murray was there. And at the end of the day, that's what happened. And, I think that being in this situation now in Toronto, being around some familiar people, that he'll be recharged and re-energized. And it's not like Murray is going to have to go out and play 55 games for this hockey club. I mean, anything could happen. But you've got Ilya Samsonov, who's a good young goaltender there as well. So they'll be splitting the load, and I do like the idea of Matt Murray having a bounce back year. That's for sure.